Hi everyone, this is Kurt with Axtreme-Guitar, and I'm going to be going over the song Plush by Stone Temple Pilots today. And just to start off, I decided I'm going to use an acoustic guitar. You can play it with electric or acoustic. It really doesn't make a difference. I wanted to play it acoustic also because I get to show off my new orange wood acoustic guitar. I first purchased one of these as a gift to my wife. It was a 3/4 size. It's very similar to this one. I liked it so much that I ended up getting my own. This is a cutaway acoustic. Now you can get it in electric acoustic or just as this one is. It's not electric, just a basic acoustic, but it has a really nice sound to it, nice feel, nice tone, warm tone. I don't get any kickbacks by referring this to anybody. I just wanted to throw it out there. So without further delay, let's start with that intro. So the intro is going to be starting with your middle and ring fingers. That's what I would recommend. Middle and ring fingers on the 3rd frets of both the E string and the B string. And we're going to be hitting the bottom 3 strings, the E, B, and G. So it's, and then from here, I tend to have my index finger up, but you can place it right behind your middle finger on the B string 2nd fret so that it's ready for the next chord that you're going to be doing. So this chord is part of the G chord. If you were to do the whole thing, it would be... So from this G here, we're going to shift just the middle finger to the G string 3rd fret, and if you already had your index finger planted on the 2nd fret of the B string, then that's all you have to worry about. From here, we're again just hitting the 3 strings. Now this one, and I'm going to check my notes because it's not the most common of chords. This is a G diminished over B flat. Again, we have this G. Next, we're going to shift downwards. And before I go any further, I want to make sure that you are aware that your ring finger stays planted on this 3rd fret of the E string. That remains the same throughout the entire intro and reoccurrences throughout the song. So the only fingers that are going to be doing anything else are your index and middle fingers, and it'll be either on the B string or the G string. So in this case, we're at this, what is it called again? G diminished over B flat. And then we're going to move both our middle and index finger down in pitch. So down in pitch, index finger on the 1st fret of the B string and middle finger on the 2nd fret of the G string. So to put that in context, and then we come down here to this chord is a C6 over A. And then after, we're just hitting the open 3 strings, which is also part of the G chord. So you follow that right there, a couple of different times before you end on the full G. Now we weren't ending on a full G beforehand because we were just doing to this G diminished over B flat and then down to C6 over A to G. Now here is where you do this turnaround. It brings you right back to the intro. So you're just going to be hitting the bottom 2 strings, the B and the E, but we're going to start on the open B, and we're going to go 1, 2, pointer or index finger to middle on the 2nd fret, or you can use your pointer finger the whole way. You go open, pointer on the 1st, slide it up, and then we do a hammer on. What I'm basically doing is I'm strumming the 2, and I literally hammer down on the 3rd fret with my middle finger. And we start it all over again. And here is where we end to the full G. So we've ended the intro on this open G. Next, we're going to go from G, and it's going to be a step down on the bass line, going from G. Now you don't really hear it so much when you're listening to the song, but if you really analyze the chords, you're going G, and typically we would do a D, but they took this F sharp over here in the D that you're used to doing, and they moved it over here instead on the lower E string. And then we go to an F bar chord. It is in the E pattern. So if you're not familiar with an F bar chord, or bar chords in general, we're going to take what an E major would be. That's why we call this bar chord an E pattern bar chord. We take this E major, move it up one fret, and we bar it across here because the root note is an F, which is the first fret. And we have the F major. And so like I said before, it's a bass walk down. Now I've just emphasized the bass more in my strumming so that you would hear that. And next we would go down to this B over C, because you're taking this C bar chord, except I'm not using this root note because I want to use the E. Of course there's this E, but for reasons of maybe the voicing of the chords, Stone Temple Pilots decided that they wanted to use the E down here. So you have the 7th fret E on the A string, and then you just bar across the 5th fret of these 3 strings. And so from this E over C, we're going to go to another funky chord. This one, E flat major 9. You can see how often I use this chord. Now this one is kind of a difficult bar chord for you to do. I've been doing it over and over again in creating this video, so I've spent a lot of time doing it. And it's not hard once you've done it a few times. So what I am doing when I do this chord is I have my pinky on the 6th fret, because if you recall, the 7th fret is an E, so I'm going to E flat, and I'm barring all across the 3rd fret with this E flat major 9. You're going to bar all the way across the 3rd fret. I'm trying to get my other fingers out of the way. If you're not used to using your pinky, this is going to be an exercise. So from this E flat major 9, then we go right back to the F major, and then start that progression all over again. Next section is going to be derivatives of D. You're going to take half of the D chord, just your ring finger and index finger. And so what happens here is we're going to go an open D chord. You're not going to want to hit that E string up there. So you can use your thumb to help block that one. And the one down here, I'm using my ring finger to overlap and help block other strings. I'm going to do that with my ring finger here. Mute it enough so that I don't get any sound from it. And I'm going to go... Well, I don't want to mute that. We're going to be going back and forth with this. It's going to be a strum, you can refer to the tabs to see the detail of how it's happening. So we're going to do this walking bass, and so as you saw that, I'm strumming in a sweeping sort of way from the top and the bottom, picking the tops and the bottoms without hitting the open E strings on top or bottom. Then we go back to the E flat major 9, to an F. What I am doing is I'm muting my strums, so I'm keeping the position. It's just that you might be able to see I'm pressing down and then I'm letting go at the same time, but I'm always keeping contact with the strings. And you notice that too. So I actually allow open strings in between shifting to the next chord. As always, you want to be as familiar as possible with the songs. After that section, we go right back to that main riff from the intro. Now we come to a section of the song where he starts saying, "When the dogs do find her, got time to wait for tomorrow." Now that is not in the key of the song, but what he is doing at that point, they actually are using power chords. G to an F, to an E over C, and then from there, and what I'm doing there, like I did with other chords, is allowing my pointer finger to fret the A string while muting the E string right above it, and my pinky is on the G string 7th fret, and my pinky is fretting that note and muting the B string. And what I'm doing with the song is, so you slide up and hit it one more time. And so then you would start it over again from the G to the F to the E over C. And then from here we do this D power chord up to this D sharp. And once you've done that the number of times that you're supposed to, which is, I believe, 2 separate times, then it's going to go you slide up and sustain, and then sustain again on back on that D power chord, right back to the main riff, and so on and so forth. As always, I will leave tabs for this song. It'll give you all the details of what you're looking for. I hope that was a helpful tutorial getting you through that song. If you liked the video, click on that like button. And if you would like to see more videos like this, you can always subscribe so you're always up to date on when I send out a new video. If you'd ever like to hear a song that I haven't covered yet, you can comment below or you can send an email. As a side note, I've been working on my website and I'm going to be adding some new features to it. Some of those features would include a blog as well as a tablature library. Now, I'm going to be working on this library myself, so at first it's going to be pretty small, but it is going to be a growing library. This one, unlike many of them, is going to be ad-free and you don't need to have a membership to access it. So stay tuned for the next video and I hope to see you there.